Many times in Africa, West Africa, they use kola. They say, he who brings kola brings long life. So we want to honor our great spirits, our great ancestors. The sky take kola, we say ashe. The mountains take kola, we say ashe. The rivers take kola, we say ashe. The ancestors and our great mother, Asesipa, known as many times Iya, a Mother Earth, take kola, we say ashe. When you use kola, it's very important. In our traditions, many of the ancestors, they use, in Ghana, they use what is called snaps. They use the alcohol because it was only done to call on the spirits. That's why it's called spirits. Iba Orisha, Ashe o, Iba ancestors, Ashe, Modupeo, 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 Inside, inside, inside. We know that there are so many of our ancestors. There were millions. We know that this institution is our place of giving honor to those who have paid their dues. I call on the spirit of Empress Tanakatula, who was the empress of this land in which we now stand. Empress Tanakatula, we say Ashe. Empress here, Augustus Elbe, Ashe. To the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, we say Ashe. We say Ashe. To the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the father of African liberation, we say Ashe. We say Ashe to Marcus Messiah Garvey Jr., who just recently became an ancestor to Marcus Messiah Garvey Jr. We say Ashe. We say Ashe to Empress, or sometimes they say Queen Khalifa, who was the queen of this land, which we call Amexem, all the way to Venezuela, California. We say Ashe. We call upon the spirit and the blessings of Tutagmosis, Ashe. We call upon Pharaoh Akhenaten and Ashe. To all those great ones, Queen Nefertiti, Queen Nefertari, we call upon the spirit and the blessings of our royal prince, Malcolm X, Malik El-Haj Shabazz. We say Ashe. We call upon the spirit of Nana Kwame Atta. We say Ashe. We know that this is the ancient land of our ancestors, which is West Amexem, which has been here for over 5,000 years BC. We know that millions of our ancestors, we're standing on the bosom of them. So please participate. Call out the ancestors. Call out the ancestors. Ashe. 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 King Suniata Keite. Ashe. 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 We know, as I said to you before, it would take 7 days and then some to call out all the names of all of our ancestors. To all of those whose names we have not spoken today, may they not be offended, because we know when we look in a mirror, we will see the ancestors. We know each time and every time a new birth is taking place in our community, that our ancestors are coming back through the unborn children. May our children and our children's children's children long live their spirits. So to those whose names we have not spoken, to those of whom we have not forgotten, may all their spirits come. May we all give honor to all of those great spirits whose names we have not called. We say, Ashe! Ashe! Ashe!
He say Ashe, and so it is. Thank you, Queen Mother Oshudara. Thank you for that libation. Sometimes we just need to hear you again. She was a powerful sister, and she made an impact with her life. You know, some people, they come into this world to do something. Some people come just to breathe and leave. But she came to make a difference, and she did make a difference. So now and then I like to tap in and say a few words, Queen Mother, from the grave or from wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful inspirational libations. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mamano. Wherever you are, wherever you are, may nothing but goodness find you. I'm Oke Dibia Ochuaja, Onyioha Osimiri. I would like to welcome you to Chiism Live, our internet talking space for the Global Faith Ministries of Chiism, a ministry of the Godian religion, founded, and let's not ever forget who founded this religion, and I'm losing my nucleus, but that's okay. Oke Onyioha, Oke Onyioha, the spiritual leader of our organization, a powerful human being. I just regret I don't have a video of him pouring libations, because he was powerful beyond measure. It's going to be an exciting program today. Today, we're going to talk about things that sometimes we're not happy to talk about. Some things we're reluctant to talk about, things that make us uncomfortable. But, you know, that's what Chiism is about. We're going to make you a little uncomfortable. But in the meantime, we hope that you learn something. Before I go any further, let me first bring in my co-host, Dibia Ochuaja, Udee Onyioha.
Every day above ground is a good day.
Yes, indeed.
We're alive, we're breathing, we're looking good. I kind of knocked off another 10 years, as you well may have noticed, but that's my secret. I'll let you figure that out. You look great.
Thank you. We know your secret. We know your secret.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to bring in our wonderful co-host, Dibia Chiedozie Okoro. Onyeze, Image.
Dibia.
Mamano.
Yeah.
How ChinEke is blessing you. You're looking it. You're looking.
It's looking good. Onyeze. We see you. We see you.
Like we say over here. Like here we say, what can I say?
Yeah, okay. You know, my grandson is learning Igbo. My grandson is learning Igbo. So every time I see her, I say, Chai, Lady Dama, you look so beautiful, Lady Dama. He says, it's a more mag. Well, what do you want me to do? That's the way things are. So So that's
Oh.
what you're in effect saying to us. We get it. We get it.
Sure.
And of course, Dr. Symona Monet. Hey,
Hey,
hey.
how are you guys? Good morning.
Hello, doctor. How you doing?
We are glad
Very
that you're joining
good.
us
Very
today.
good.
How are you?
Very good. I can't complain. That was
Okay.
wonderful this morning. Waking up to my mother-in-law.
Yeah, hold on a
I
second.
know.
Hold on a second, people. I'm doing this show and I got all this chatter going on. Can you take me off camera so I could close my door, please?
All right.
Because
All right. Okay. So yeah, I thought it was wonderful to
Yes.
bring her forward. You know, she has a way of pouring libations. You know, she touches upon everything. You know, she touches about the African experience, African American experience, and even beyond. And she calls out the names of our joint as ancestors because they are our joint ancestors. So now and then I like to, and you sent me that.
Yes.
We did it when we had a libation ceremony. So I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad I got it because I'm saving it for posterity. I'm never gonna let that go.
Yes.
So anyway, we have 2 hours to have conversations today, but there are just some things that now and then I want to see. I go to the mailbox to see what mails we've gotten. A lot of the mail we get is very, very positive, but now and then you run into somebody who has issues. So I thought I would share this particular letter that I got. I'll read it for you guys. And I thought it was really very interesting. And this person, his name is, he told me he doesn't mind, he doesn't care if I use his name. So that's okay, I'll use his name. His name is Chukwuemeka Oji. And he sent this through Facebook, my Facebook, mail. And she says, Dear Chiism Live, I am a true believer in our Lord Jesus Christ as the only path toward righteousness and truth. We Africans were in the dark before the advent of the Christian faith. The good news is that your repentance will be received with open arms before the coming of our Lord. I ask you to put love in your heart as pure as Jesus had and quit telling people to go back to the time when we were in darkness. Teach repentant philosophy so our people can be saved, not misdirected by your religious message straight into hell. From Chukwuemeka Oji. Whoa. That was interesting. I said, okay. Here's the deal. Here's the deal here. I'm just going to say this now, let you guys talk, because what I want us to do is have some conversations about little things that are going on in our environment or little information we're getting. And then we'll talk about those before we go into the meat of our discussion today. I just want to start by making the statement to Chukwuemeka about what we're trying to achieve here on Chiism Live. Okay? What we try to do is tell the truth as we know it, the absolute truth as we know it, as we feel in our soul. Chances are that you're not going to like it, because most religions, they tell you their truth, and some of us like it or some of us don't, but that's just the way it is. So for some people, when we tell the truth as we know it, you probably will get angry, and we expect that. That's okay. We get some challenging notes and questions, and some individuals will think that we are out of our minds for speaking the truth as we know it. But here's the truth. Truth has a way of scrambling the brain of all those of you who are the receivers of our message. See, sometimes when you hear our truth, you immediately bring up all the reasons why you feel that we're saying what we're saying cannot be true. The need for us to make more explanations for your fear of losing control of what you've been told, what you've been fed all these years. So we just want you to know that we will continue to tell the truth with love, kindness, and compassion. We tell the truth with conviction and blessed assurance, because our truth is what guides our conduct. Now, it may not be your truth, but it doesn't mean we're lying. Once we've shared the truth with you, all we do is back off. We get still and watch the gray matter fly. We will continue to share with you what we consider to be the truth, because the truth will always speak for itself. All we are saying is look within yourself and find the power of the Creator in you. It's nothing that's hidden from you. When we say monachiso, that's all we say. There's nothing here we're not saying that we're saying that meanders from that truth. Minachiso, you are one with the Creator. Right where you are, God is. God, whatever name you have. But our people were never in darkness. They had their truth, and their truth was what they operated. That's what led them. That's what directed their conduct, their interpersonal relationships. That was their truth. But what happened was that truth was twisted and told to them that it was a lie. But that's a different truth you must believe in. And if you don't believe in that, there are severe consequences. That's why Chukwuemeka can come and tell me that my people lived in darkness. If humanity and civilization began in Africa, how can we have possibly lived in darkness? The truth of the matter is, Dibia Ochuaja says it all the time. Dibia Ochuaja Udee says it all the time. Your truth is based on your environment, what you're familiar with. So what we tell you to embrace what's in your environment, embrace what your ancestors taught you. If it worked before, it will work again. Look at where we are today. How is that working? How's that working for us? This new truth, whatever that may be. Now, you can embrace a new truth. There's nothing wrong with that. But make sure you're using it to do good. Make sure that whatever truth you're believing in is helping your community to grow. It's helping your people. It's helping your children. It's helping the molding the minds of the young in the right direction to embrace who they are. Not truth that tells them, that diminishes them. I'm not going to call any religion. There are many, many religions in the world. We're not just picking Christianity. We're talking about our truth. Sometimes we make the comparisons, so that you can evaluate what we're saying. But if you don't get that, then that's fine. But it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the truth. So I'm going to ask Dibia Onyioha, what do you think about that letter? I don't know if you were. I think you were out. You didn't hear
I actually didn't hear it, but I kind of get the gist of it. I think in our earlier discussion before we started this show, I had talked about there's a guy called Voltaire. You guys have probably heard of him, and says that anyone that makes you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities, right? And that's where we found ourselves right now. Man in the mirror is a very, very eye-opening experience when you have to look in the mirror and have to address yourself. You have to look at the negative aura. You have to look at what you have been taught. You have to look in the mirror and ask yourself some questions. And what happens in forums like this and discussions like this is that when you have to make people look in the mirror and they start asking certain questions, all of a sudden they don't like what's looking back at them. And a lot of times what's looking back at you, I'm sorry to say, is total ignorance. And your embrace of it, it takes you to a place that you ordinarily wouldn't want to be, but you find yourself in there because of one thing and one thing only: fear. The consequences of questioning everything. What is the consequence of asking the most poignant question, how did we get here? At one point in your life as a Black man or woman, do you say to yourself, how did we get here? At one point, do you realize that there's something that is really wrong with us? Psychologically, mentally, something is off. Why is it that most of the things that we extol are not African in origin? Why is it that we don't have books on philosophy that talks about African philosophers, that talks about Africa's contributions to civilized behavior? How did we get here? Did we just fall from the sky and just fell in as a defeated people? Was there ever a time in the history of the Black man and woman that we had societies that functioned without any outside interference? Did we have our own medical systems? Did we have our own philosophies? Did we have our own school system? Did we have our own institutions in economics? sociology? What were the civic institutions like? What were the political institutions like? Where were we? How did we function and govern ourselves and live our lives before the European came to our shores preaching the Bible and the Arab came to our shores with the Quran? Where were we? What is our history? Where did we come from? It's funny enough that it's actually, you know, unless you're dealing with people like Dr. Ben Jockin, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with, you know, the Dr. Henry Clark and some of these great African philosophers. Maybe if you deal with some of those people, Oke Dibia, then you get to understand that we actually contributed to something to civilized behavior, that there's a trajectory as to how the European came to be, the Chinese, the Amazonian. Where did we come from? Through studious, you know, engagement, we find out that history began in Africa, human history. If you add science to it, it's all about evolution, how we evolved from being amphibious to now, you know, walking on land. If you follow the scientific path. But most of the conceptions that we have in religions all over the world, human evolution was seen spiritually from a point of ignorance, not through scientific explanations. I'm sure that scientifically the story of Adam and Eve makes no bloody sense to you. Nobody gets created from the ribs of somebody else. It's all magical stuff because you don't have any scientific proof or understanding of how humanity came to be. So you come up with all these stories to explain your human condition, to explain your history, to explain your journey, to determine your genesis. Where did we come from? That's always been the most burning question. The air we breathe, the life-sustaining forces, where did they come from? These are all the things that made religion possible in any human being. And religion in its etymology simply means a duty that a person feels compelled to perform in reverence to something greater than themselves. And that something is the Almighty ChinEke, Allah.
You're going to have an opportunity to say these things when we talk about this. Another aspect to
okay.
But
the bottom line is, you know, the guy just can't stand the mirror and the image looking back at him that tells him that he's just ignorant. That's really it for me. And I'm bold enough to say that it's ignorance. That's all.
Thank you so much. Okay, just briefly, Dibia Chiedozie, what do you think about that letter? Chiedozie.
He's frozen.
Dibia Chiedozie, can you hear?
Well, I have been through these sort of things in the past. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I don't know. The network seems. Now, I've been through these sort of things in the past and in the present. And I must say, the guy who sent that message to you is a case. It's typical of monotheist. Because monotheists always insist on one way to God, and that way is the only true way and the recognized way by God, and they are sure that God has spoken the truth, the eternal truth, and only one truth to the whole of humanity. And so it's a psychological case of mental poisoning. It's a psychological case of blackophilia. It's a psychological case of negrophobia and blackophilia. So it says, anywhere I meet such people, I don't take it kindly with them. I hit at them directly because that's what they do to me. So I do it to them. The way it's in phenomenology school of thought, we call it the interminable way of speaking. Willful blindness to the truth. That truth is perspectiva. Willful blindness to history. What they do is that they come to the middle and cut history from the middle. They are not interested in what happened before. So if you spend your time enlightening this particular individual, is a sheer waste of time. The best way you deal with them, do more of what you are doing and to help. That's my attitude. Because even here, when you go to buy drugs, I remember some years ago, almost 10 years or more, I went to the chemist to pharmacy drugs, malaria drugs for my little kid. And then this lady was busy giving me the drug. And then she asked me, as she gave me the drugs that I paid for with my money, and she said, "Have you found him?" And I said, "Who?" She said, "Jesus." And I replied, "Oh, you found him?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Then keep him. I lost him several years ago." She was dazed, shocked. So she said, "But you can't get back." Never. Never. The chemist was there. They were shocked. Looked at me. They looked at me. That is the way to find kind of people. That's my own way. I don't have the time to explain to them, because what they are doing is not inadvertent, it's deliberate. It's a willful blindness. So if you explain to them till tomorrow, they will argue with you. In fact, to get to a time, they will engage you in argumentum ad hominem abusive. Whatever they say, they turn it against you. So such people, well, we can debate it here to enlighten other people, but not that individual, because it's a wacko case. So that's the way I look at it. And that's why he said, those of you looking at me here, he said, opposite this musical box. So you look at me, for those of you who are Africans, listen to me with the African mind. And those of you who are non-Africans, listen to me with an open mind. And so he relayed the history and showed that what has happened to the African is that he had done all the talking and did less of the recording. And even that which he recorded in ancient Egypt had been balkanized, stolen. How many people know that India, all the civilizations, India, China, Tibet, they are all migrants from Egypt? How many of them know that? How many of them know that Jesus Christ is a replica of Heru of Egypt? How many of them know that? How many of them know that Mary is a replica of Osset of Egypt, who makes spices? How many of them know that? How many of them know that Immaculate Conception, resurrection, is not akin to Jesus? These are stolen ideas. But even when they read, ask you the Bible, all in all, how many of them know that the Bible is a replica of the book of the Son, which some people call the book of dead? Since they have extracted what they wanted from it to write the Bible, they call it the book of dead. But it's not the book of dead, it's the book of Son. They call it the Egyptian book of the dead, but it's not the book of dead, it's the book of Son. And so that's why they got most of what they have in the Bible. Many of them know that all the Psalms attribute David, where the prayers and the poems of, and then some of them are attributed to Solomon as the wisest man. Most of these write-ups were from Akhenaten of Egypt. How many of them know that? That some of the Psalms are from ancient Egypt. How many of them know that? That even some of the Psalms are from Bhagavad Gita. How many of them know that? People, because I was brought up as a Christian, as a lay member, even to read philosophy, I had to take it to the priest who doesn't know anything about what I'm reading to educate me about how I should understand phenomenology. So closed mind, deliberate closed mind, deliberate blindness to any other thing that does not fit into your little cocoon. So that's why I say it's a waste. That's the way I want to look at it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Dr. Symona, you want to unmute yourself. What are your thoughts about that letter? Have you experienced anything like that?
Oh, all the time. With me being African American, the only thing that a lot of African Americans have been exposed to is Christianity. Not knowing the origin, the history, any of that. We have been totally disconnected from who we are because of the transatlantic slave trade. And our religion's been taken away from us. There was some remnants of that in the Caribbean, and then, you know, some parts of here in America and New Orleans. But when you talk about here in America, there was books that were written. There was all types of things that has been put in place to demonize who we are. And a big part of who we are is our religion. And that is why we have been enslaved in the mind. We're still enslaved. That's what it tells me. We are still in slavery. This gentleman wants to talk about Jesus. Which Jesus are you talking about? Are you talking about Jesus of Lumbek, that ship that they used in the transatlantic slave trade to bring us over here? Are you talking about that Jesus? You have to understand the correlation of what the Bible was used for and is still being used for to keep our minds enslaved. So I think that he has to, and I pray to ChinEke. Thank ChinEke. I just want to say that really quickly because I want to give reference to ChinEke, my ancestors, and all of you, all of my elders here that is given off so much knowledge that is needed because you're helping in the process of bringing us out of slavery. Now, he may be upset now, but ChinEke can change his mind. We have to get out of this enslavement of our mind. And you have to understand, simply read the history. Read your history of what Christianity was used for African people. What was it used for? I'm not saying if you love Jesus, there's nothing wrong with loving Jesus, because I love Jesus at one time because that's all I knew. But don't be closed off to your original. I know when I'm introduced to where my ancestors came from, I'm fully embracing that. Don't end with Jesus. Don't end with Jesus, because it's not ending with Jesus, and know the whole story. It's just he's just in a simple level of, he hasn't matured enough spiritually to know who ChinEke really is. And I just pray that ChinEke shows him who God truly is.
That's right.
So that's how I look at it.
Thank you.
Let me just read this line right quick. It's just a one-liner. Martin Luther King said that nothing in the world is more dangerous. Nothing in the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
That's right.
That's what I got to say about that guy. And Symona, you know, everybody just hit it on the head. You've been taught wrong. You've been taught wrong. So every time you hear information that challenges your ignorance, you get all stirred up. And that's
the part of it that, all the other foolishness, you guys are right. And I pretty much know that this guy is misdirected, obviously. But the part that really sticks to my mind that I find so pathetic and sad is the fact that he's been convinced that we as a people were in dark ages. We were in darkness. We didn't know nothing. They brought the light to us. That right there is the problem that keeps this cyclical. It keeps going. We pass it on to our children, then they pass it on to their children. And it's that mindset that makes many of our people think that they are inferior. Sometimes it's almost like you have to present something from the perspective of a European for them to buy into it. Only when a European says it is so, that's when we say, oh, okay, must be good. Because they brought us the light. I'm going to make something clear. I am not, look, the world is a Serengeti. Everybody has the right to exist. White, black, yellow, green, purple, or red. Everybody has a right to exist. But if you're talking about the Serengeti, you have to ask yourself, do I have the right to exist? Or am I going to become chopped liver? Am I going to be dinner? And as long as we're thinking like that, we're going to always be dinner. Always be dinner. Somebody's always there to ravage our minds and use it and keep us down. And so when you talk about what's going on in the African community, that's what's going on. Our people are convinced that we're not good enough. So that information about us can be good enough and we shouldn't even bother knowing it. So that's one thing. Thank you guys for, that's just something that was sent to me and I thought it was interesting. The other thing that I want you guys to comment on, we have a sense of our spirituality as human beings, whatever that spirituality is, until we have to put it in practice. Okay? It's a good thing to talk about. It makes us feel good. We go in the group think sort of thing. We come with our friends and people that we go to church or whatever, we speak hallelujah. We do, all of that until we have to put it in practice. I want to read this. This was something that an individual wanted to ask the world. This was a Nigerian man who asked this question. And I thought it was really interesting. He says, where is our humanity? And he's telling a story about a gentleman who passed away. But before he did, this is what happened. His landlord sent him and his family packing because he could not renew his house rent. He had no money. So he then applied for a loan from the manager of the company he was working for, but the loan was not approved. They didn't care. As a matter of fact, there's a gentleman in Nigeria, I remember, that worked for a hotel chain, and he was beaten in the streets, and he was left in the streets bleeding. And ultimately, he was taken to the hospital. He couldn't afford to pay for his hospital bill. He called the hotel where he works to ask them if they can help him. Now, listen, we're talking 40,000 naira. What is 40,000 naira? It's not even $100. The hotel refused him. He had to beg. He had to beg my daughter to help him because where he worked wouldn't even help him. But those people are very religious people.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, if you go to that hotel, all you hear every day is that religious song, morning and night. Oh, and don't let it be Christmas. Then you will not get any sleep. But they couldn't even help this young man. So for this guy who applied a loan for the company he was working for, they did not approve the loan. Well, he contacted the influential man in his community, but he could not find help there either. He then called his relatives on the phone, but no one would help him. He went to Facebook and posted seeking for help, but the only thing that he got was 2 likes and 0 comments. Then he became frustrated and sent 120 messages to friends on his contact list, asking them for support of 100,000 naira. Unfortunately, only 10 people responded to the message. 6 out of the 10 said they had nothing to give. Only 1 out of the 4 people gave him 20,000 naira, which is not even up to $50. But the rest kept apologizing and eventually stopped picking up his calls. So here we are. The landlord locked him out of the house. His family were thrown out and left at the front door of the house with all of their belongings. He became more frustrated. He went everywhere in search for help, but could not find one until nightfall. As he made more effort in the dark looking for solution, a truck ran over him and killed him instantly. Well, the next day, news of his death spread everywhere. His Facebook friends made 2,220 posts on his wall, mourning his death and expressing their admiration for him. The landlord immediately ran to open the door for his family to go in to receive all the mourners that are coming to see them. The influential man in the community who earlier refused to help him then took some food items and groceries to the family to cook for the mourners. Listen to who we are serving, the mourners. Preparations for his burial began later, and his friends who formed a committee raised 1.2 million naira to feed the sympathizers that will be coming from different places. His co-workers also raised 300,000 naira to collect booths and chairs and other items. Where is our humanity? What is it that We practice in the name of religion. Why do we help the dead and not the living, he says. That touched me this morning. This is real. Try raising money to help people. See who will help you. But put something that says, in the name of the Lord. I cannot tell you how many amens you get. Amen, 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 amen. But don't ask for a nickel to help a fellow human being. So I'm asking you guys, what is the reason why we do what we do when it comes to help other people? Any one of you can start.
We lost our humanity. What we preach, we're not practicing it. We lost our humanity. It's always when your guilt comes to the fore. Do you now try to mitigate that guilt by doing what you should have done in the first place? Right? You just told the story. This guy would have still been alive, living in that house, family healthy, mentally, physically. All this would have been mitigated. I belong to several groups on WhatsApp, some of them involuntarily.
Yeah.
And most of the time when money is being raised, it's being raised because somebody in that group membership passed away. But I've also noticed that there are people in that group that have issues but cannot discuss their issue in that group for fear of being excoriated as people that are not financially responsible or people that have done something bad. That's why they're in the position that they are in today. But they will pick up the phone and call you directly, personally, as an old friend. Say, hey, I have an issue. Can you help me? But they cannot discuss that issue in that group, even though the group was founded to help people in need. But it is always when something bad happens that people seem to come together to try to help out the family. But while that person is alive, we lose our humanity because we start to judge why you're in the condition that you're in the first place, as opposed to saying, one of us is in trouble. We're obligated spiritually to help this person stand on their 2 feet, so that in the end, they appreciate the reason why they are part of this organization in the first place.
Yes.
We've simply lost our humanity. We don't practice what we preach. We like to blame people. We like to see people's condition from the perspective of, it is your fault. We don't think about any mitigating circumstances. We don't think about maybe he lost his job. Maybe there's some health issue within the family that made these people leave their job so they could take care of the loved one. Yes. Maybe there's death in the family where this person can't work anymore and now need to take care of the loved one at the expense of, money that was coming in through their job or whatever. Nobody asks, maybe they have mental issues. Maybe that's why they're homeless. We don't ask about the mitigating factors. We just look at people's condition. Period.
And think, why are they like that? They should be able to take care of themselves.
If I'm doing well and I have the same opportunity, they should be doing well. We don't ask about mitigating conditions. We don't ask about maybe this guy was going or this lady was going to college and maybe their parent fell sick and then they had to leave school to go take care of, the parent. But whatever those circumstances are, there's nothing investigative about the way we think about people's condition. We just look at your condition for what it is. And then because we're not in the condition that you're in, or whoever is having this issue, then we judge. We are very judgmental. Don't look at why somebody's in the condition that they're in. And we just judge people. And our response to somebody's issues is based on this judgment.
Yes.
Even though in Christianism, for example, and I always use that because Africans, we're not suffering from the Buddhist spiritual influence. They didn't put us in this condition. Neither did the Zoroastrians or the Hindus or, the Buddhists or the Shintoists. Those people that came to our shores to enslave us physically and enslave us mentally are from Abrahamic religion. So I'm sorry if anybody gets upset, but it's the truth. Truth is based on your condition.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's sometimes we make statements and we talk about, and we're very inclusive when we say, I don't care if you're this, I don't care if you're this religion, blah, 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 just to be politically correct. But sometimes you have to go straight to the jugular. Why are we in the condition that we're in today? I have never seen any great African philosopher of the past or of the present, and I'm not going to see one in the future, that is going to talk about the African condition in the world today and the level of insolence that is heaped upon us, that is going to talk about it from the perspective of any other cultural or religious influence other than Europe or Abrahamic religions. It is the truth, and I'm standing on that.
Yes. Okay.
People that don't respond to people in need on this Facebook, internet, WhatsApp, whatever, 99.99% of all of them are from adherents of Christianity, where the individual is looked upon as more important than the whole. Let's just stop pretending. I believe every man has a right to worship God the way they understand best, or every woman has a right to worship God. Everybody's got a right to worship God the way they understand best, regardless of what their creed or color is, regardless of their politics, religion, culture, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it is the European that put the African in the condition that he or she is in today through Christian influence, and they justify our slavery and colonization. And whatever information or institutions that they change, whatever information they put out there as to your ability to govern yourself or your relevance as a human being, both spiritually, politically, socially, is based on Christian doctrine or Islamic doctrine. So let's stop pretending as if Islam and Christianity is not culpable for the condition and the mental slavery that the black man and woman finds himself in today. That's why people like the guy that wrote the letter to you that you read on this forum, that's why he has this impetus to talk about the nonsense spewing from his writings.
Thank you. Yes, 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 yes. Whew. All right, Dibia Chiedozie, what do you want to add to that conversation? I'm talking about what has happened to our humanity. Thank you.
I'll take from where Dibia Ochuaja
did
mission from his conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
The key factor here is that we lost our values. Mm-hmm. So when you lose your values, what happens? Confusion.
Yes.
And it was a major theme of the last conference everywhere. Now, I will state that it's very, we are discussing now, is connected to the very first one we discussed. Mm-hmm. It is the loss of value, confusion. Because I remember when I was with my friend, Nana Kalodi, Iban Kalodi, who metaphysics here in Yaba, and a Jewish rabbi was around, typical Israeli, and then we got discussing, and some people in the center started raising Jesus Christ. Of course, you know, they wouldn't talk. At the time he talked, and this is exactly what he reported. He said, look, what us Jews rejected for thousands, hundreds of years, in fact, almost 1,000 years, we rejected vehemently with our blood. You people are accepted. You are conquered and you are slaves. You will suffer forever. Then it occurred to me at that point that the closest people to Jesus Christ, his brothers and his cousins, refused to accept that doctrine. Who are his brothers? Jews. Who are his cousins? Arabs. The two of them refused Christianity vehemently. Why? Because Christianity did not come from the Roman culture by Constantine. The Romans packaged Christianity for the conquered world. It was not packaged for spirituality, no. It was packaged for political and economic control.
Thank you.
So wherever it goes, the same thing with the rise of Islam. When Muhammad rose, Muhammad did not package Islam to other cultures for spiritual purposes. No, it was for political and economic control. So wherever they spread out, the first thing they did, Islam and Christianity, is to destroy the people's culture and dislodge the soul of the people from the soul of their culture, so that they will be confused. So that is what is happening right now. All these are replications of the confused peoples, which the repeaters, the Ghanaian poet wrote, lest we should become the last. We have left the past. We don't understand it. Even what we're into, the whole essence of Jesus Christ, we don't even understand. So like a pastor came into this office, a student of mine supposedly, and he was preaching to me. And after he finished preaching, I called him, said, I said, Iwozu, you are the idiot. You are a pastor, but I'm your teacher. You are a pastor, I am your teacher. You teach faith, I teach wisdom, and wisdom directs faith. That Jesus Christ you are preaching, the way you are preaching it, you are asking me that I should always go to Israel to meet him. So the guy he came with to be his PA said, that's capital of life. I said, look, Jesus Christ is simple. The principle of love, light, and life, which is in every culture. Ife, we have it. Ehonanya, we have it.
Yes.
Ndu.
Yes.
Ahikenando,
Yes.
we have it.
Yes.
Primordially from our ancestors. With love, we generate light. With light, abundance of life. Then
Yes.
you can domesticate it. You can domesticate it and use it and bring God down, which was what communalism was. So the value that Dibia Ochuaja talked about in communalism, it was for the living, not for the dead.
That's right.
That's why we say, here did not more, there not more. Get
Yes.
did not matter.
Say it again.
So and then the dead, we don't. That is why we consider the dead. The dead are not dead. We call them the living dead. The living dead.
Yes.
Okay.
They are part of the community.
Yes.
So there is no word we are going out there different from this. They are part and parcel of us. And so they don't go to heaven. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna forever. They are in the spiritual world, like the ancestors, to direct falling on earth. To direct them, there's calamity. So after heaven is not like where people go and sing, are pleasing God. Ancestors, but they are thinking about what is happening here because of it.
Yes.
We are and they also try just like our beautiful mother, poured. So you see that she was calling all the ancestors, and she said, they come back. Or as soon as we give birth to a new child, an ancestor is back.
Yes.
So that is our worldview. And that is why, because I remember when I was still worshiping with the Yorubas at John Rumila at Akpata Road here in 66. One day, a particular one, he came in looking tattered, hungered, and said, and then there was a festival going on. Nobody asked him about his religion. Nobody asked him whether he was telling the truth. He was welcomed into the Ijo, which was like the Yoruba traditional church, and he was given food. He was taken to the backyard to bathe. After bathing, he was given food. Some people brought clothing for him. We gathered money for him. After we gathered money for him, we told him, if you are telling the truth, may God bless you. If you are telling lies and deceiving us, it's awaiting you.
Yes.
But we have attended to you sincerely without asking for your religion. Let that guy go to a typical church, or the first thing they will ask him, do you accept that the Lord Jesus Christ is your Lord? If he did not, yes. Shut the door out of shut against him. So in the first instance, we're a people hungry. What we are in, we don't even understand. Because those who brought us Jesus have been able to use Jesus to build their own kind of humanism. But we don't even understand what they brought to us because we don't have a foundation. And how do you understand another man's culture? How do you understand another man's language primordially if you don't understand your own language? How do you understand another man's spirituality if you don't have your own spirituality? So you discover that. That's why I said we are confused because we have lost our values. We are confused. That's, I think, let me submit it at that point, at this level.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Final thought on this. We've lost our humanity. Then we'll go into the main focus of our presentation today. Dr. Symona, go ahead.
Yes. I feel that the one thing that people have to ask themselves, no matter what religion you are, what are you practicing? Because ChinEke, or you may say God, or you may say Allah, is supposed to reflect love. ChinEke is love. So are you practicing love? So I see a lot of people, they could be very religious, but they're not walking in love. If you're not walking in love, you will not be able to help your neighbor. You will not be able to do the things that ChinEke would do if ChinEke was to walk the earth. So you have to ask yourself, what am I practicing? Am I practicing love? Because that's what it's all about. We're all connected. We're all connected on this earth. And we're all here to help each other. We're supposed to be helping each other. We're brothers and sisters. Why are we not doing that? Now, coming from a perspective of our own African people, we have to understand the root of why we are not helping each other, why we are not walking in love. When you read the Willie Lynch letter, what does it say? If you've ever read that letter, I'm going to turn the African people against each other. The lighter skin against the darker skin. I'm going to turn the older from the younger. And he also, for what reason? To make distrust. To cause distrust. And what does distrust do? It causes division.
Yes.
We are in a position now of division within the African people.
Yes.
With the Willie Lynch letter, it was a program, or this thing was put together for our demise. Even though we do not have the shackles and chains on, we're still have the shackles and chains on in our minds, like I said earlier.
Yes.
Because we can't walk in love if we have distrust. How can you help your brother or sister if you can't trust your brother or your sister? And so this is the thing that we have to look at. And what did they bring us? They brought us Christianity. Christianity was brought to us. Christianity was used for our demise. Let's, instead of saying the blood of Jesus, let's say the blood of our ancestor. We need to go back to the blood of our ancestors and give homage to our ancestors, because that is what's going to give us power. That is what's going to lead us in the right direction. That's what's going to bring us back to ChinEke. Look at the Haitian revolt. When they went back to their religion, when they went back to the African way, they were able to overturn the Europeans that were controlling them and enslaving them. And they're still being punished now for it. People may say they're not, but they are. Because we're still, and then that enslavement, it's still in our minds. It's a sickening. It's a sickening. And people have to wake up and do this shows like this, through Chiism. This is waking people up. They may not want to take the medicine. It may not feel good to them, but it is what they need to hear.
Say it again.
Yep.
They
True,
may
true.
not want to take it, but it's good for you.
Yes.
It may not taste good,
Yeah.
but it's good for you. This is what
He
you
said,
need.
he said,
right.
yeah.
Do your research. Don't listen to us. Do your research
Say it
and
again.
see how Jesus' Christianity was used against us as African people. And we can't walk in love. We've been traumatized.
Mm.
We can't help our brother or sister because we don't even trust each other. We can't do business together because we don't even trust each other. I heard many African people say, I will not shop at that African store because I don't trust my brother and sister.
Yeah.
What other culture is doing that?
Yes.
I live in an Arabic community. As soon as something opens up, they are there supporting it.
That's right.
Yes.
All of them.
True.
All of them.
That's
True.
right.
We can't do that because our minds are enslaved, and I pray to the great ChinEke that we have freedom from our minds.
Freedom. Yes.
Our minds.
You say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My God. That is powerful. Hold on a second before we even go. I got to take that last point just for a second. What Dr. Symona said. Once anything opens up in the Arab community, they're supporting it. That's culture, that's religion, that's their way of life, that's communal.
That's their religious practice. That's their religious practice.
Anything open amongst the Hindus, they're all over it because of their communal sense of community responsibility.
Yes.
The community comes first before the individuals. And for us, if you come from a cultural perspective, it's demonized. And the only reason why we're in the condition that we're in today, and Dr. Symona made it clear, is this lack of communal responsibility. We don't take any pride in anything that is African. Our minds have been enslaved and corrupted to believe that anything that is African is inferior, and anything that is outside of African way of thinking, particularly those people that enslaved and colonized our minds, are superior. And now we're all engulfed and embracing Stockholm syndrome mentality.
And you see, when you stop, and that's why some people get all bent out of shape. When you stop and think about or research and find out what is in your community, what is it in your spiritual community, what is it that we believe in? When we say my wealth lies in my community. That means if you're suffering, I'm suffering. I don't care if I have money in the bank, but if you can't eat, then I'm poor. Your responsibility is certainly from but there's a reason why. There's a beauty starts from within, then to the outside. It doesn't say it stops within. Yeah. It says you build yourself up so that you can take that out there. We're supposed to support each other, So now this takes me to the topic of today, which is the third purgative light of Godian religion of Chiism. These are the principles that we propagate and we're supposed to use to guide our conduct in our world, ourselves, and our communities. The third purgative light states, I believe that every human being, consciously or unconsciously, looks up to something above them as a source of inspiration, and that something is ChinEke, Olodumare, Tamuna, or whatever your name is that you use to call upon God. Okay? The word here for me is inspiration, source of inspiration. If you have a solid source of inspiration, then 9 out of 10 times you will find that you can become a problem solver on your own. Once you're connected to this source of inspiration and you allow that source of inspiration to guide you. You understand? If you allow that source of inspiration to guide you, you will be amazed at what you can solve, the problems that you can solve. It is when you remove that source of inspiration, where you hang it on a tree and you go to the tree and you pray for the tree to bring down that source of inspiration. That's where you get stuck. But if you know that you are connected directly to that source of inspiration, you can make things happen. Now I want to play this video. This video is so inspirational to me because this is a guy that ordinarily should be feeling sorry for himself. But because he believes that the way he is nothing he should be ashamed of. The way he is no reason for him to not do for himself. He is becoming a successful, where people are so busy whining about what they don't have. This person is using even his handicap to make himself powerful because he believes in a source of inspiration that's within him and powerful enough to guide him. I want you to watch this. I'm going to remove all of you.
As I did so, as I will draw, as I will computer, as I will play ball safe, and my girlfriend like me there as I did so. She loved me, so I don't get any regrets for God creating me like this. My name now Osareme Akugbe Joshua. They call me Josh Arts, aka Starboy. My best work now Davido. I like the work because I like Davido. I use my soul and passion to do that work because Davido na person where I like well. This my condition not stop me from drawing. Even when some people see my work and I tell them say I be artist, they'll say how you tell you do this thing where you do. I tell them say this thing it be like sleeping, as in it dey very easy. So this is the sketch pad that I use then when I start to draw. Now when I draw this drawing, now I know say I get future for this work. This one self now 4 years ago now I do one. Now see things I do now recently. My major challenge now, maybe when I finish with drawing now, person work, I want to go framer. So it is difficult for me to get vehicle where they carry me they go because where the frame they very far. Then sometimes hold up feet day I need to trek and my body not they built for all those stress. There are nobody to send those kind of errand. Apart from the video work, I don't draw other celebrities like Tunde Not, Goodluck Jonathan, Obaseki. I don't draw many. Some of them I don't even know for where I put them because it don't take.
Background, you want to put the background?
Now like this they take bomb me. When I ask my mama, he tell me say now like this they take bomb me. Say she don't know where, but now God give her. That's why she give me that name Osareme. Now God give me. And she accepts me like that. I don't get any regrets because I don't already accept life as it be. I know if it change what God don't do. He do me like this and I accept her. Maybe if to say I not be like this, I for not sabi draw. And as far as my mom and my girlfriend like me like this, and who am I to say no? I like myself just the way I am.
Is he not an inspiration?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. When I saw this video, I look at those people who don't have handicap, but they complain. Instead of using what they have to better themselves, they complain. You got legs, got hands, you can see, you have a mouth, you can eat. Oh, I don't have money in the bank. All I have in the bank is 20,000. What are you going to do with that? I mean, they complain. The people who complain the most are those who don't believe. They say they go to church, they do all of that stuff. They believe in God, but you don't believe in God if you can't use what you have, whatever the condition, to better yourself. Udee, your thoughts?
It kind of reminds me of, I think the second month of the year, Igbo calendar is the month of Ikenga, right?
Yes.
And Ikenga, part of African Igbo spiritual culture, says that your talent in life, regardless of what your handicap is. It is your talent in life that will lead you to the hallmarks of your akaraka. Akaraka is destiny. Ikenga is talent. Everybody's born with a talent. Every one of us. So what you may call a handicap for one person may be a blessing in disguise that steers them to their talent so that they can now accomplish your destiny. There's something people say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What you may see as a detriment here may be a blessing for somebody else. It's just about perspective and how you look at life.
Yes.
Beyond this young man, you guys have seen videos of people born without arms, but they could drive, they could do all kinds of stuff, they could write, they could draw. What has happened is certain parts of your senses are now heightened.
Yes, say it again.
More than somebody, the quote unquote normal person, because you don't really, or you didn't really have a choice.
Yes.
But to have those senses heightened. The blind man can hear better than you.
Yes.
The deaf can see better than you. Their senses are heightened. The sense of touch, the sense of feeling, the sense of, seeing, the sense of hearing, the sense of taste. One door closes, another door opens. It's about perspective. It is about how you see yourself and how you're willing to compete with the rest of the world so that you can sustain yourself. So while we may be looking at him because he's got disfigured arms or disfigured legs, he's not as tall as we are. So we're judging him from our own supposed perfections. But he said something there that really got to me. And I've seen videos and I've seen people in similar circumstances. He says, my girlfriend loves me. Somebody is looking at me from my spirit and my soul and my determination and my ikenga. Somebody sees greatness in me despite the handicap that other people may see. This is why my woman loves me. And when my woman loves me,
I'm good.
Nobody can be against me.
Yes.
When my woman, and I'm saying it not just because he's got a handicap, he feels that way. I feel that way in my personal life.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys feel that way in your personal life. I'm sure that Dr. Chiedozie feels that way. When my loved one, when my better half has confidence in me and loves me, can nobody in the world defeat me?
Yes. Yes.
Say it again.
This is about the spirit. This is about the triumphant, the triumph of the human spirit.
Yes.
The human spirit is greater than the physical spirit. I was watching a video of this man who crawls with his hands, no legs, from his hip, no legs, born that way. He crawls into church. And ladies and gentlemen, you got to see this man's wife. Beautiful, black, like you don't know what lady, with their baby, walking behind him into church, proud, while everybody's looking at this man, whatever. He's an artist, by the way, he carves. And his work is wicked. This woman saw his spirit. This woman looked at him beyond his physical disability and says, that's greatness right there. And I want to be part of that. And she married this man, walked into church with a beautiful baby that they wanted to have this, the blessing or whatever done to, for the baby and all that. And I just started crying. And I'm serious. I was literally crying because I saw the triumph of the human spirit. And that's what I see in this young man. He has transcended beyond what you and I can understand, because we look at ourselves as perfect physically, but we recognize our imperfection spiritually, and it's people like this man that lets you look in the mirror and reassess your spiritual allegiance, reassess your understanding of the power of ChinEke. It's people that have transcended beyond what you and I understand as normal.
That's
and have
right.
reached an apex in their spiritual enlightenment. They have achieved the state of Amarachi, the grace of the Almighty God.
Yes.
In Buddhism, they have attained the state of Buddha. They are spiritually enlightened. That's why this man can create these art pieces.
Can you imagine what he creates?
And you and I will look at it with our so-called physical perfections. We're emotionally jealous of what this man can do, that we, in our supposed physical perfections, can't not even dream of achieving.
Udee Dibia Ochuaja.
Yeah.
You know, there is a phrase that we use, and it's a person's name too. Parents give a child that name, but it is if you go by the riverside where they didn't have mirrors and all, you know, when you see your image, you're supposed to tell yourself, Kanji Biowa.
Yeah.
This is who I am. Kanji Biowa. You have to embrace the image you see first.
Yep. Self-love.
Because if you reject the image you see, you will never appreciate anything that comes after that. You will keep wanting more and more and more. You understand? You're never satisfied. Just be satisfied to start. How I am is who I am. Now, anything else I can add to it, it's a good thing. But I can't
acceptance
before I build. Build first. Build yourself up first. Understand, that's what we were talking about, the connection to ChinEke.
Yeah.
Your source of inspiration may have a different name from mine. Mine is ChinEke. That is my source of inspiration. That is my strength. That's what he's got. He said, God is his source of inspiration. This is who I am. This is how I was made. His mother understood that. His wife understood that. So if you want to make it in life, start with looking in the mirror and reminding yourself, this is who I am. I may look different from you. Remember that old man in the village, Oke Dibia, that you and he tells you, you can be greater than me in everything. If you're prettier than me, I'm uglier than you. One way or the other, it balances out. If you're taller than I am, I'm shorter than you are. If you're richer, I'm poorer. That balances. So you're not greater than me in everything. That is the attitude that we must have. It doesn't. And I'm going to tell you about me. There's no human being that I cannot stand in front of them and speak. Nobody intimidates me. Nobody. I don't care who you are. But it's not because I feel I'm any better, but it's because I feel I'm good enough.
Yeah.
I don't have to apologize. I don't owe you an apology for who I am. You know, when you're younger, you know, you feel bad, perhaps your friends look this way. But when you grow older and you start understanding, hey, listen, this is it. This is how I am.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're ugly, go get some powder. You know, put some lipstick on, put some earrings. You know what I'm saying? You can build upon who you are, but you can't build upon anything that you take away from. You see what I'm saying? Dibia Chiedozie, please.
Excuse me.
Dibia, add your thoughts.
Yeah, you see, what you just said reminds me of two people. One is my cousin, Sonny, Ibekwe by name. He's crippled.
Excuse me.
He wasn't born crippled, but due to bad medical practice, the nurse that gave him injection when he had polio, the needle touched, the two injection given to him touched the bones of his legs, and so he got crippled. But Sonny has finished building his house. I'm still struggling with mine. That is the shoemaker. He makes this shoe with finality. When we were still going to school, he had already started making shoes. We were just maybe by 5 years or so. But when we were in school, he had already started making shoes. Of the he made, he invented himself. Howard himself, and years ago he married. When I had to go home to Abia State for Lagos for that wedding. While I was in going to his suburb, Umachara. Then I met some people. They were happy and say, "Hey, look at the cripple him to marry." I said, "Oh, that guy you call cripple, you call me professor. He's my cousin, and I'm proud of him. And I'm going to and I'm going to hug him, as dirty as he is." And he married just like the one that Dibia Ochuaja described. Tall, beautiful, ebony black woman. And she was so happy and proud. So we did everything, wedding everything in Son's house, not a rented place, his compound. Okay, that is one. And you see, this takes us to the question, who is the human being? Is the human being this physical frame, or is the human being the inward hidden talents?
Yeah.
That's the one Dibia mentioned about Otu Onyioha, which is our Eke. Otu Onyioha is our Eke. It could be called facticity. It's a facticity of life. Bone short, tall, fat, thin. And Godons, the African comedian, Nigerian comedian, Godons will say, if you are fat, don't think that you are fat. It's only that you have some excess body. And if you are thin, don't be jealous. It's only because if you are not thin, we will not know who is fat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't think that you are tall, because without the short person, we will not know.
You don't know. Yeah.
So, and if a short person is talking and the tall person cannot hear, don't be angry, because all the words said by the short person pass through your legs. So if you are a woman and you cannot do, if you're a woman and you are on the big side, if you cannot catwalk, do elephant walk. Walk now, walk. The human being is the so that's the first. So comment schooling. Now you see, the human being is a package of the inner spiritual self, the mind, and the body.
Yes.
Body is just a case. It's the way I came to the world, my Eke.
Yes.
Now,
Capsule.
I shouldn't regret it. That's why in Igbo, we encourage the individual not to remain at the level of Eke.
Yes.
But we should walk towards our Chi. Because the danger here is that Agu, the middle point between Eke and Chi, if you begin to live a life of remuneration, where you begin to live a life of regret, I will hold you at the level of Eke, hold you spellbound.
Yes.
And you will, but if you accept it, then your Eke awakens your Chi. Agu then awakens your Chi. That was vibrant. It flows. And that's when they are flowing, because it was your talent flows. The fact came with it, it's part of it.
He's having some challenges. So hopefully he'll get it, work on it for a minute. And so I'll let you speak, Dr. Symona. What are your thoughts about accepting who we are?
I think it's very important to accept who we are. I feel that a lot of times we have obstacles in our life, things that his was physical, but we may have different challenges that we go through. But I think at the end, it's an attempt to get us on our path. Everyone is here for a purpose, for us to be able to identify and be able to live this life on purpose, living out our purpose in honor of ChinEke. The more connection that we have with ChinEke, the more we are able to live out our purpose, and we're in complete balance, both in the physical and spiritual world. In my practice, one thing that a lot of people notice when I start working with them, because I'm heavily working with ChinEke, is that they have a glow. So no matter what they look like, how big they are, how small they are, a lot of people say, you know, people are saying, oh, it's something about you. They go out. There's something about you. You have a glow. And then a lot of times people become more attractive, more positive energy starts to come to them. But that's only ChinEke. That's only being in alignment with connection with ChinEke. And the more we're in connection, the more we are going to be in balance with the universe and the spiritual world. And so when we get to that point, no matter, you guys, you know, you spoke about them getting beautiful wives, but those beautiful wives were attracted to their spirit because they are in alignment with ChinEke. And those women was able to see their spirit, and we're all connected spiritually. We're all joined spiritually. That is what we have in common, is ChinEke. And so I believe that is what is attracting their mate. You know, it's the fact that they are in divine connection and alignment.
Yes.
Like the Asians or the Easterns say, they've reached enlightenment. So he said that he loved himself, something that most of us don't have, because you cannot not love yourself if you're fully connected with ChinEke.
Yes.
And people are going to see the blessings of ChinEke through you if you submit to your purpose.
That's right. That's right.
True. Absolutely.
No, nobody's going to appreciate you if you don't appreciate yourself. And that's the thing. People get mad, nobody likes me and all that kind of stuff. Well, nobody wants to hear all your negative stuff. You understand what I'm saying? You can attract people by being positive, just the way you are. Even in the middle of your challenge, you're going to have to sometimes you have to do that. We don't all have to know that you're in pain, you're upset or that sort of thing. You can put your best foot forward and you find that you attract people, Yes. One of the things, here's the tragedy too. This young man, and that takes us back to the humanity. If we see that a young man like this with all these challenges can create things like this, you tell me, why has nobody picked him up? Why has nobody said, wow, even with all these challenges, what is your source of inspiration? What motivates you to do good? If you see a man like this, I sent out an email. I wanted to know, where is this guy? I want to buy his painting.
Yes.
I want a painting from him. I'm an artist, but I tell you, I consider myself a very good artist, but I can't paint like that. I can't draw like that. That is just absolutely phenomenal. So why are people not saying, hey, how do we help this guy?
Because our mind, let me say this, okay? Sometimes it even brings you to tears, when you come to some of this realizations sometimes. Again, Abrahamic religions have really sapped our minds of any kind of communal responsibility. Looking out for people like this and recognizing them is part of your community responsibility as a spiritual person.
Yes.
The thing about Abrahamic religions is the idea that yourself, the person itself, is more important than the whole. Your personal salvation, blah, 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 blah. We don't see any inspiration from people like that. It is people like this that actually reinforces your belief in a supreme being, in a higher power.
That's right.
Particularly when those people accept themselves as perfect creations of ChinEke. Just like Dr. Symona said, it is a triumph of the spirit over the physical.
Yes.
Chiedozie said the same thing, Dr. Chiedozie. It is your spirit that makes you human.
That's right.
Not your physical shell. That's just the shell that the spiritual part of you as a godly being resides in.
Mm-hmm.
When the physical dies, the spirit lives on. In our spirituality, reincarnation, you come back again. Ultimately, you end up as an ancestor. Mm-hmm. There's a place for you in the spirit world. It's physical. Metaphysical dualism under the ontological structure of being. That's what it means. Mm-hmm. Life is just not physical. It's spiritual. Without the spirit, the physical part of your existence is worthless. It means nothing. It means nothing if you're physically walking around here without a soul.
Yes.
Without a conscience. You become a detriment to your neighbor, to the guy next to you, because you will commit all manner of atrocities without even knowing that what you're doing is wrong. You are a threat to your neighbor if you don't have spirit. Yes. The spirit has to be triumphant over the physical manifestation of you. That's what makes you human. One way out, without the other. Mm-hmm. Without darkness, you wouldn't know daylight. Mm-hmm. As we mentioned before, and you heard me talk about it, how would you know you're tall without the short person? Mm-hmm. How would you know you're fat without the skinny person? Opposites. Duality of existence. There's almost opposites to everything we do. The left hand, the right hand, so on and so forth. So people like this, while others may look at them as less than, so to speak, because they're not standing upright, they're not 6 feet tall, both hands, your hands are functioning, and then somewhere along the line, you think of yourself as a superior person because you consider your physical, quote unquote, perfection transcendent over his, quote unquote, imperfect physical manifestation. But spiritually, he is superior to you. Because he's accepted his condition as a spiritual person. He doesn't put any limits to himself because of his physical handicap. He understands what he can do and what he can't do. He understands his limitations. And by understanding his limitations, he can maximize his blessings. And his blessings has allowed him to create such artwork. I remember the other guy, just like Dr. Chiedozie was saying, he's an astrophysicist. I can't remember his name now. He's in a wheelchair, but considered like the best astrophysicist of all time. He's in a wheelchair. He's always like that.
Yeah.
He don't talk. You know what I'm talking.
I think he died though.
Yeah, he's passed away.
Yeah.
But until his death, now he wasn't born like that.
No.
But he had a disease that, slowly deteriorated his physical self. But his spirit and his mind and his intelligence was way above everybody else. And the more he receded physically, the greater his mind.
Yes.
The more his handicap got to him, the greater his mind. He went into his mind to pull out such, phenomenal understanding of how the universe and astro, physics and all that kind of stuff. So your physical condition may be an impediment to you getting around, but it doesn't take away your humanity. It doesn't take away your spirituality. It doesn't diminish you as a spiritual being, because ultimately the physical part of you will die. You're only going to enjoy it from the day you're born to maybe you're 100 years old. That's it. But the mind, the spirit lives forever. And the most part of your spirit living forever really has to do with your work.
That's right.
While you are alive, good or bad. It is the impact that you end up having on your community that will determine whether people are going to hear about you 1,000 years from now.
That's right.
Or not. You know, we don't like Adolf Hitler. He did wrong, but you think we're ever going to forget about him?
No. Well,
No.
let's not bring that man up. You know, I wanted to thank you. I want to share this, and Chiedozie, I want you to be the first to comment on this. When you talk about you believe in a source of inspiration, you know, atheists don't believe in God. They don't believe in well, they don't believe there's any spiritual connection between us and a creator. They don't believe in that. Okay. But then if you ask an atheist, what is your source of inspiration? No atheist will tell you I don't have a source of inspiration. They have a source of inspiration. Whatever that source is, it has a name.
ChinEke.
It has a name. Now, this gentleman, you know, he was desperate. He had 5 children. I think it was about 5 children, and he had no money was coming in, but he knew he was responsible for taking care of these children and his wife. The wife was doing the best she could, but they still had to feed these kids. And he knew, you know, when you say monachiso, I am walking with God. If you listen inwardly, he said that God spoke to him to reach out to somebody to help him. Not to go and beg in the street, nothing like that. But just he went to the Facebook and he wrote and said, anybody who would help me. He saw one guy on Facebook and he said, if you will help me to start a business, it will help me and my family. Well, you know, because we in Nigeria, unfortunately, you know, you give a dog a bad name and you hang it. So they have this reputation, oh, they're 419. So immediately the guy thought, oh, that's a 419, and I'll just play with him and see where I go with this. So he told him, well, I tell you what, I want you to go out there and take some pictures of people. Just take some pictures of people, just to see if this guy will play along. Well, this guy is determined to feed his family, so he went around with his old cell phone. You remember that cell phone that used to be this tiny?
Yeah.
Okay. He used that and took some pictures and sent it to the guy on Facebook. The guy said, well, I didn't really know that he would do this. So, okay. Your camera is no good. I'm going to buy you a better camera. He thought if he bought that camera, that it was, you know, he'll probably sell it and nothing will come of it. So he sent him a good camera, you know, one of those cheaper cameras that you snap. But it certainly was bigger than what his camera could do, what his cell phone could do. So he went and took those pictures. He got the camera, went and took pictures, beautiful pictures. So now the guy on Facebook can say, well, this guy is serious. He says, okay, these pictures that he sent to me, I am going to sell it. I'm going to create a book. So he got some of his friends, they created a book from the pictures that this guy is sending. Then he sent it to some of his friends, and before you knew it, you know how when things go viral, it goes viral. People started loving the book and started buying it. So he sent him $1,000 from the pictures he sold. I said, you keep 500, and I want you to use the other 500 and give to somebody else. He took the 500 that was given to him. Then he went out, used $500, and went to schools and bought them books, pens, backpacks. You know, $500 would go quite a bit of, you know. So
in Nigeria,
a bunch of stuff to prove to this man that your impression of me must not be my reality. You don't know me. Monachiso. I know who I am. I know who moves me. But if you put your trust in me, I'm telling my God that I am worthy of that trust. So after he did this guy realized how serious he is. He went to Nigeria to see this guy. And now he has started a nonprofit. People are just sending money to him, and he's using it for everything he promised he'll do. CNN. Now listen to what I'm saying to you. This is somebody who had nothing. Now CNN found him and did a show on him. So when you believe in yourself, when you believe that you're good enough where you are, but you can see, accepting himself first was what he had to do. Then the next thing was to use that acceptance to look for something else. Chiedozie, what are your thoughts on that? I thought that was a powerful story.
Yeah, I think I heard about it too.
Did you hear it? It was just
Yeah,
amazing.
I heard about it. It's very inspirational.
Yes, Chiedozie,
Very,
are you
very.
there? He's
Yeah,
He's
I'm
there.
sorry.
His picture is just frozen, but it's there.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just that we're having difficulty
If you
with
hear
your...
me clear. Because it's like the network this side is bad. Because
Yes.
because
Okay.
His network is bad.
it's the thing is the line is seasoned.
Yes.
We you see that it has to do with the time
But I'll tell you what we're going to do,
so
Chiedozie.
please bear with me. You see, we before you have
Chiedozie, this is what we're going to do. We're going to you can remain with us, but you're really it's very challenged right now. Your network is really bad, so we can't hear what you're saying. It ceases. So, but please remain with us, and you'll give your part. Hopefully, by the time we end the show, you'll have some parting thoughts. Dr. Symona, what do you want to say?
Yes, I believe that a lot of times our blessings come from what we give. And so the more we give, the more the blessings come. It's a law of the universe anyway. You know, what you give, you receive. But the more you give, when you're in that energy, you're going to attract to yourself what you are giving, depending on the measure that you are giving that to. So I've seen it many of times in my life. There have been times that I've, had hard times. That is the opportune time, and this is sacred knowledge. People have to understand this is sacred knowledge. That is the opportune time that you do give. When you feel as if you're lacking, it's when you give. And in that giving, a lot of times it will reciprocate back to you. And so that is one of the major secrets of the universe. If you're lacking, to regain balance in that area of your life, start to give. A lot of people do the opposite. But take what you have, give thanks, and start to give of what you have.
Yes.
And more will come to you. It's happened to me many of times. More will come to you.
Yes.
You may not know where it's going to come from or how it's going to turn out. That's a lot of times ChinEke doesn't do it how we see it or how we perceive that we'll receive those blessings. But if we give of what we have, then that will be given back onto us.
Yes.
And so it's just like I really hold true to the belief that everything in this earth realm and everything in the heavenlies, if you're connected to ChinEke, this is all yours. You may not know exactly how to get that, but it's all yours. It's just a matter of how do I have access to that and manifesting that into my life now. But the first part is understanding that it is yours. That is the first part. It is yours. Whatever is out there is yours. You just have to learn how to grab it. And part of learning how to grab it, which is a law of the universe, is giving. And giving thanks to ChinEke. You give thanks to ChinEke. You give thanks to your ancestors. It was like earlier, you put on my mother-in-law's video because she gave me a message this morning. I had asked her, I prayed for something, and she said, Simone, I want you to put cola nut around it. She said, I want you to put cola nut around it. And that when I heard her voice and giving those libations to do exactly what she said, to put the cola, get the cola nut and put it around what it is that I want to manifest. So in connection to our ancestors in ChinEke, anything can turn around.
Yes.
So that I believe that wholeheartedly. But
Yes.
then coming on here and having that confirmation when I heard my mother-in-law talking about I give cola nut, and that was confirmation to me because it was 2 days in a row she talked to me about it. And so we must give, and that's giving to the ancestors. That's giving to her as my elder, the cola nut. And so we must give in order to receive. So people have to understand that I truly believe in that, and I've experienced it many, many times in my life.
It all starts with believing.
Yes.
Believing in your capacity to understand what is expected of you. Believing, and Dibia Ochuaja said it earlier. If we're not connected, to source, right? We just think of ourselves. We don't think of the whole. So you don't grow. You don't get an opportunity to grow if this is where you are. This is all there is. The people who said,
crazy, okay. It's true.
Who said that, they're not crazy. And the elders will say to you all the time, you know, if you come in here and you're bragging, they tell you, you know, don't come and show us what you have. What is it you're prepared to do for your community?
Yes.
From where you are, with what you've got to work with. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have wealth to give. You don't. Like this poor guy, well, let me not use that expression. Like the guy who just showed his video. His wealth is his art. You can outrun him, right? You can lift stuff that he can't lift. You can do things he can't do. But I guarantee you, most of us cannot duplicate his artwork. But that's his gift. By accepting himself, he's able to now produce beyond what we anticipate. He's able to produce what the whole community can use. I'm going to go back to Dibia Chiedozie and see if in any way he's able to speak now. Dibia, can you, Dibia? Okay, you have to unmute yourself. I'm trying to give you a chance to give us some parting words. Dibia, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me? Okay, it's still. Yeah, you're right about you're right about the internet challenges. It remains.
Yeah.
Udee.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going to ask us to have some parting words. Udee.
Yeah.
Because you got 2 minutes. Well,
okay. The main topic today is I believe that every human being.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe that every human being, consciously or unconsciously, looks up to something above him or her as their source of inspiration, and that something is the Almighty God, ChinEke.
Yeah.
Now, religions around the world agree, and I'm going to just kind of read this a little bit. Religions around the world agree that God, ChinEke, not only is transcendental, but is also immanent in all forces of nature, which are ChinEke's manifestations. It is from our consciousness of all the phenomenon of nature milling around us that a person came to think that there must be a first cause, the first principle that brought into being the phenomenon of nature milling around him or her. The first cause, for in want of a better name, called ChinEke or God the Creator in Igbo, Olodumare in Yoruba, Ubangiji in Hausa, Osobunua in Benin, Abasikenyong in Efik, Tamuna in Ijo, Ohene in Uhobo, Mawu in Togo and Dahomey, Nyame in Ghana, Katonda in Buganda, Allah in Arabic, Jehovah in Christianism, etc., etc., etc. God with many names in different languages. It is this understanding that we are not responsible for the life-sustaining forces that keeps us alive right here on earth that manifested religion and therefore created this need of supplication to something greater than ourselves, and that something is Almighty ChinEke. Reason why I'm bringing this up is because it is a commonality between all world religions that believe in a supreme being. It is the same thing across the board. So the issue that we have, the conflict that we have in religion and not spirituality, because our spirituality already determined that we believe there's a supreme being because of the life-sustaining forces. It is the idea of method of supplication to ChinEke that has always caused conflict amongst all religions, and not in the belief of a supreme being. Most religions believe that. You just call it something else. But we all believe the same thing. Our conflict is in methods of God worship. This is where the conflict among cultures, among religions come in, which is unhealthy, rumples social harmony. So as long as we understand that all world religions believe in a supreme being,
Yes,
that is the first step in promoting peace amongst humanity.
yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I just got noticed some individuals who said that the notice did not go out on Chiism Live on Facebook, but I did. One of them just came in. I did, so they must have missed it. And I just want to make this known that our numbers are growing. Many people are joining Global Faith Ministries of Chiism on Facebook page. We'd like to welcome them. Thank you for joining us. And you know that if you go to our Facebook page, Chiism.org, it will immediately take you to Chiism, Global Faith Ministries of Chiism on Facebook, if you want to join our group. So I welcome all of you who are not there yet to go right ahead, go to Chiism.org and join. It will take you to our Facebook page and you can become a member and have conversations with us there as well. So again, let me remind all of you, if you have forgotten, hopefully you have not forgotten, we are still talking about building the Ubiobase, our place of worship, and we're still doing our fundraising. We need a whole lot more support than we're getting right now, but I do appreciate those who have made their donations, but you have to keep giving. We have to make this happen. We can't talk about it. You know, this construction of the Ubiobase, it's a real thing. That is going to be one of the most powerful things we can say as Chiis that we have done. So we encourage you to continue to make your donations. I want to thank Dr. Symona. You certainly are one of the individuals that have made. I can't list everybody, but some of you are making your donations, and we appreciate it. And that means that, you know, we understand what this is about. It's not about talking; it's about actually doing work. So please, again, subscribe to African Spirituality on Chiism Live on YouTube. We have some individuals who have joined us off and on today from Chiism, African Spirituality on Chiism Live on YouTube, and then we have individuals who have joined us from Chiism Live on Facebook. Continue to be a part of this program. We need more and more individuals to join us and be a part of this. And then the other thing I want to say is, if you want any particular thing that you want us to have a conversation about here on Chiism Live, we will do so. Just make sure that you go there, go to Chiism Live on Facebook and write what you would like us to talk about. We like the input. We like your input. whatever it is that you think that concerns you or that fascinates you, and you want to know the perspective from a Chi's perspective, we'll be more than delighted to talk about it. So I ask all of you to continue voting, donating, continue joining live shows. We appreciate you, and we're going to have another exciting program next week. Before I leave, I want to give Dibia Chiedozie. I am so sorry you're having that, because you have so much more to share, but you're just having so much difficulty. Now, this is the last opportunity to see if you can have something to add to the closing arguments. Dibia Chiedozie, see if you can say anything. We'll take it as you give it. We'll take whatever you give.
Yeah, no, I don't know today. They won't.
Let me eat you.
We feel you. We know what's going on. We know you're having challenges. So, what did he say?
It's not good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead and just go ahead and speak. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak. Okay. Well, it's not still not working. It's still not working. But hey, listen, I want to thank Emeka. I would like to thank my darling nephew for all his hard work. He really keeps it. He's just doing a marvelous job. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Dibia Ochuaja, Udee. Oh my God, you came with it today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Symona Monet, always a pleasure.
Yes. Very good.
I am so sorry that we wanted to hear all your wonderful contributions, but it's okay. There's always next Sunday. Hopefully the internet will cooperate a little bit better with you there. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our program today. Thank you all for being here, and we look forward to having another exciting conversation with you next week. And so it is. Kemesiano and bye-bye.
Yeah, guys, yeah.
See you later. Bye-bye.
All right.
Anyị na-eto ChinEke onye kere ụwa. Anyị na-eto